What's your kind of music, and how would you describe the music you prefer to make?
Um, to be honest with you, whenever somebody asks me what is my favorite genre of music, I always do not have an answer because I think for me it is simply about whether the music is good, whether and it's good to me. That's all. Like it makes me feel something. I probably have not explored genres like heavy metal and all that a lot, but
Yeah,
even there are songs which I've heard and I've been like, wow, this is unbelievable what these guys are doing or how this song sounds. But in general, I try to keep an open mind when it comes to music because I really do not want to be caught into a I see a lot of people who kind of get into these kind of clubs like this music is good and that music is not
yeah,
good. I really do not believe that. Like if it speaks to me, if I like it, even if it's the most pop kind of song or if it's the most alternative kind of music, I really do not mind. It just has to speak to me. And to answer the second part of your question, I think that is what I try to do with my music also. It's not about, what bracket do I want it to be in. I'm a film music composer. So for me, the film is the most important thing. The story that we are trying to tell is the most important thing. So my music in whatever shape and form, even if it is by the absence of music also in a particular scene, I have to be helping the story to go forward. That's all
yes,
I try to do. So for that, yes, for some songs like I might have to try something like hip hop, sometimes I might have to try something like Carnatic classical, But whatever it is that I'm trying to do, even folk music like in Garuda Gamana, I've experimented a little bit with the folk music of
yes,
Karnataka.
yeah.
So in all those situations, all I'm trying to do is that it's not about I want to sound different or I want to try this genre. It's not like that. It's just that I feel the director feels or we agree that using that music will increase the impact of what we want the audience to feel at that point of time. That's it. So that is why I like to keep things simple that way rather than complicating too much. Just keep it simple and keep scoring. Because again, to be honest with you, I have learned all these things. I've never worked in a studio before. I've not assisted any music director before. So whatever
Oh,
I know, film music composing and music production and all those things are all self-taught. So I
oh,
have to keep it simple. I cannot say that I've gone to this huge music school or anything. I'm truly a self-taught person that way. So just whatever the film is making me do, I just do it. That's all. That's all.
yeah, that's amazing. But you indirectly answered my next question too.
So I thought I might have. Anyway, please go ahead. Ask me. Yeah.
Yeah. What is your creative process, and what all you do to bring the newness for your music?
Um, Creative process. There are a couple of things. As I said, first thing is that I think it is hard, for artists to do this, but I try to every time. Is to not pressurize myself. There is no such thing. I try to tell myself that there is no such thing as a big budget film, small budget film, nothing of that sort.
Yeah.
It is all about a story. In some attempts, we might succeed in telling the story effectively. In some attempts, we might fail. But the the ultimate goal for me as a music composer is to first of all I have to figure out what my director's vision is for the movie, and then I have to give the music so that I can match that vision and probably make it better than what even he had imagined. If
True.
I do that, I believe that I'm successful because for me, there is no difference between the director and the audience because director is like my first audience. So if he's feeling it, then the next, let's say the editor and the actors who see the movie, if they are feeling it, then I'm quite confident that the audience will also feel it. That's it.
Yeah.
It is just that. So as I said, I try to keep things simple. I try to be honest with myself. I try to be my strongest critic. I like some I there are many cases where I compose maybe four, five, six, even 10 tunes for the same situation. But I
Oh,
and they might be completed pieces, but I completely just discard them because in the whole run, and they might be very good pieces by themselves. But when I
yes.
watch it in the entire movie, I somehow feel that this is not working in the entire stretch of the movie because all the other pieces of the background score have a totally different sound. So that is something which I have to make sure that I do. I cannot think about my music shining. I always have to think about the film. So I think that is
Exactly.
my basic approach. And other than that, yes, of course, in the creative process, there might be stages where you get stuck and things like that. So everybody has their own little techniques. For me, I think my favorite thing to do is to take my car and go for a drive. That is my favorite thing to do. So I think there are many tunes of mine which I have composed while I was just driving on the airport highway here in Bangalore. Similarly, so I just keep the phone, the voice recorder on the phone. I just keep it there, and I'll be humming, and something or the other will get recorded.
Oh,
Similarly, sometimes it is just one of my other ways to relax is that especially when pressure builds up, when there is a deadline or something of the sort. One of the things I like to do is just go and watch a movie, maybe preferably a Malayalam film from the 90s, a funny film.
yeah, yeah.
It gives me a bit of nostalgia and just helps me relax,
Yes.
reminds me of simpler days. So I think that is one thing which I love to do. I remember all the dialogues, and I keep telling the dialogues along with as the film is running. And those are little things which I do. I mean, it might sound weird to somebody else if you see it. So I just try to keep myself as pressure free when I'm working.
Yeah, that will help you. That movies will help you, like those help your mother to feed you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Food.
Oh definitely, definitely. She even today I curse her because I tell her that the reason that I became fat is because the two of you showed me so many movies. But yeah, it is it is what that was the system that they devised back then.
Yeah, yeah. Who would you most like to collaborate with and associate with in music composition?
You mean in terms of directors or
Yeah, yeah.
musicians?
It's both, like you can say separately.
Um, Directors, I think. I mean, I have worked only on 11 films so far, and many of them have had repeat directors. So I think overall, I've probably worked with maybe six, seven, definitely less than 10 directors till now.
Yeah.
And it has been like a mixed bag of experiences. But I think without a doubt, my best experiences have been with Raj B. Shetty and Arvind Shastri. Arvind Shastri was the director of my first movie, Kahi. I made my debut with him. Uh,
Okay.
and after that, we did another film called Alidu Didavaru. And now we are
Okay.
actually working on our third film called Dasara. It's under production right now.
Oh,
And with Raj, of course, Garuda Gamana was my second film. The first
yes,
one was
yes.
Undumote Kathe.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think the reason that I have enjoyed, I mean, I've enjoyed working with other directors also. There are other people that I've had great experiences with, but I think it's always very, very creatively satisfying for me to work with these two guys because they are probably the directors who trust me the most, and similarly, I trust them the most because of our long history with each other. We I know both of them for more than 5 or 6 years now, and we have been working very closely. We have become very good friends also. So they understand my process and they give me a lot of creative freedom. And similarly, I understand their thought process and I understand what they are looking for. So I am also able to push myself creatively. I know that I don't have to give them anything standard or any of
Yeah.
those. There are those standard terms sometimes that you come across in the film industry, mass entry scene or breakup scene, love scene, heart,
Yeah.
all those kinds of words are used. Mother
Yeah.
sentiment scene, those things really do not make sense to me. So these guys are two directors who never use such words with me. They always
Oh,
just tell me about this particular story, this particular scene. This is what I want the audience to feel. Now it is your job. I'm giving it to you. You decide how you want to do it. So, I have that level of creative freedom with them. They are patient. They let me do my work, and they are honest with me also. If it does not work for them, they do tell me. But because of that sync that I have with them, because of the level of understanding which is so good with both these people, I've noticed that when I'm scoring for their films, both these guys, I think together that is four films: Kahi, Undumutte Kathe, Alidu Lidavaru, and Garuda Gamana. Definitely, these four films I've had the least number of corrections in terms of having to change the music, which I first did do
yeah.
something else. It has been the least with these four films. So
Oh,
I think that itself should give you a sense of how much I
yeah.
enjoy working with them and how much fun it is for me. So yeah, I think that in terms of directors, it would be that. In terms of musicians, I think it is very hard for me to really pick because all the musicians that I've worked with so far, first of all, I think because I work with musicians who come with, like, who are very highly recommended by people that I know and I trust. And one of the people that who always I look to for recommendations is my sound engineer, Hriday Goswami. So he's a
Oh,
person that I respect a lot, and he's like, a huge force behind whatever my sound is today. He's one of the people who has actually helped me get there, and he plays a huge part in me achieving that sound. So I always take his recommendation after I make a song. I always discuss with him who can we call for this particular instrument, and he has never given me a bad recommendation. So because it is through his recommendations, I've always worked with like the best artist, the most optimum artist for each song. So I really cannot think of any bad experience that I've had with any artist. It's always been great. I've been fortunate to work with people like Vijay Prakash very early in my career. I even had the good fortune to record Dr. SP Balasubramaniam for one song,
yeah, yeah,
which I believe was his last song in Kannada. So that was a great fortune. That was actually Hriday's recommendation because I played him the song and I was thinking of somebody with a much younger voice, but because of that retro feel in that song, he came up with that idea. I presented the idea to our Puneet Rajkumar sir, my
yeah.
producer, and Puneet Rajkumar sir was so excited by it, and he made it happen. So all these wonderful things that I've had in my career, a huge part of that credit goes to Hriday also because he's the one who has always connected me with such wonderful artists. So I really cannot think of any particular artist, but it's been great. I mean, I will never forget the experience of having spoken to Dr. S.P. Balasubramaniam over the phone and giving him my directions. Similarly, recording Vijay Prakash sir when I went to Mumbai. I've recorded Hari Charan in Chennai a couple of times. That was unbelievable. In fact, even just a month back, no, 2 months back, I went to Chennai to record a guitarist called Keba Jeremiah. He plays with A.R. Rahman sir very often. They're such amazing musicians. So I really cannot choose, but they have all been fantastic so far.